Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special episode of the COYFCast. You may be pleased to know that this episode will not necessarily be discussing the current on-field plight of the Castleford Tigers. In fact, we're going to do something completely different, and we're going to be going back over the last 30 years of Super League and some of the fantastic players that have donned one of the many shirts in the Super League competition. Full disclosure, stealing an idea. We are stealing an idea, but it's a very good idea. And right off the top, I want to give full credit to James Graham, someone I'm sure you're very familiar with, and the fantastic Buy Round podcast, one of my weekly listens, the Buy Round. And recently, they did a fantasy draft, an all NRL fantasy draft, looking at the greatest players of the last 25 years of the NRL. And I just looked at it and I thought, you know what? We could do something similar. We could do something similar with the Super League. So very shortly, I'm going to be joined by Steve and Nathan, regulars on the podcast, and we're going to run through our Super League fantasy draft. Now, the rules. The aim of the game is to create a full 17, a 1 to 17, each of us in turn. The three teams will be put on social media afterwards, and you guys, the followers, the listeners, the watchers, hopefully, if I've managed to get this on YouTube, you'll be voting on which team is the best in a few days' time. It's going to be a draft format, so we're going to select players in a snake. So hypothetically, if I was pick one, Nathan could pick two, Steve would then pick three, but you'd also then pick four, and we go back down the line. So Nathan would pick five, I'd pick six and seven, and so on. You'll pick it up as we go. Players can only be selected once. So, for example, if Paul Sculthorpe, for example, is taken off the board, he is off the board for everyone else. He can only be on one of these three 1 to 17s. Now, it's all very simple at the minute, isn't it? All very, very simple. You're just picking the best players in Super League history. You're going to get three incredible teams. No stress. This will take 20 minutes. Not quite. The slight caveat for this, you can only have one player per team. Near enough. We need 17 players, of course. Naturally, there is only 12 Super League teams right now, so that causes all kinds of chaos. What I have done is I've introduced the four teams outside of Super League currently who have played the most Super League games into the fold. So that is the Bradford Bulls, the London Broncos, Widnes Vikings, and Halifax to make a round 16. So that is the current 12 Super League teams plus Bradford, London, Widnes, and Halifax. Each of us can have one player who has represented each of those teams. And the 17th player, because obviously 17 is not a very nice even number, that is going to be a wild card. It is the COYF cast after all. So the 17th player is an extra cast player. We're going to have two cast players in there. Now, to be eligible for a club, a player must have played about 20 games for them in Super League, is what we've come up with. I am recording this afterwards. There is one that gets a little bit dicey. It may have been me as well. One right on the precipice, but spoiler, we do allow it. Essentially, they need to have been involved in a Super League season for a certain team to be eligible for that team. So, for example, from a cast perspective, if you were to put Sam Wood in, for example, he would be eligible for your Castleford spot, one of your two Castleford spots. He'd also be eligible for your Huddersfield spot, or your Hull KR spot. And the final point in this is when you select a player, regardless of the team you put him in for. So, for example, if you pick Rangi Chase as a Salford player, when we really look at these teams at the end and when we get you guys to vote, we're not just judging Rangi Chase on his Salford form. If you've got Rangi Chase in your team, you've managed to get him in any which way, you are getting Man of Steel prime Rangi Chase. It's just a method of getting them in. Once they're in, you're just getting that player in his absolute prime. And as you'll see at the end of this show, that creates three excellent, excellent teams. No order in which you can select. You don't have to go fullback, then winger, then centre. You can put them anywhere as where you see fit. If you want to start with a hooker, you can. You'll be able to visualize this on your screen on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to follow along. If you are listening right now on Spotify, if you are listening on Apple, if you are listening ultimately and not looking at your screen right now, I do urge you to head over to YouTube, COYFCast on YouTube, give it a search. This episode will be there, hopefully. And you'll be able to literally visualize this as you go. It's a first effort at doing this, so it might not be the absolute best, but I am going to try my best. So hopefully you'll be able to visualize the teams as they get built. Otherwise, keeping 51 names in your head is going to be pretty tricky as we go through the next hour or so. But yeah, do head over to YouTube now, find where you are in the video, and we'll take it from there. This is exciting. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to everyone hearing this. I'm looking forward to everyone seeing this. I'm looking forward to people having a go themselves, and I'm also looking forward to people voting on how we've done and which team is the best. We're also going to kick off with a few mailbag questions as well, just to kind of whet the appetite a little bit. A few mailbag questions that got left off from last week. And of course, to my patrons who are getting this a little bit earlier, if I can work out how to drop an unlisted link on Patreon. Thank you ever so much for your support as well. Aaron, Alex, Andrew, Brendan, Carl, Carolyn, Connor, Craig, Dale, Darren, Deb, Elliot, Graham, Ian and Ian, Jake, Jody, John, Katie, Kev, Kyle, Lee, Mason, Matt, Morgan, Paul, Richard and Richard, Rory, Scott, Steve, Vicky, Aaron, Craig, and Mark. Thank you, each and every one of you. Your support is massively, massively appreciated. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Something a little bit different. I'm going to front load our great sponsors this week so we can get right into the action and there's no interruptions, because it could get even more complicated if we start interrupting during the actual activity we're going to do. So we're going to get a word from 3 sponsors this week, I'm very happy to say, and then we'll get right into it. Our Fantasy Super League drafts, myself, Steve, Nathan, and you can be the judge of how well we've done. The first sponsor of today's podcast is Salon VIP. They are based in Castleford and they are your number one spot for all of your hair and beauty needs. Do catch them on Instagram to get your booking in, and please let them know that the COYFCast sent you in their direction. The Castleford Tigers Supporters Club are sponsors of the COYFCast for the 2025 season, and I am very excited to say that their Meet the Directors event, which was pushed back early in the year for obvious reasons, is going to be confirmed for the 18th of September at the Roundhill Workingmen's Club in Castleford. Do keep that date in your diary. That'll be a fantastic evening for all concerned. The likes of Martin Jepson, obviously in attendance. It'll be an interesting evening for sure. Lots of change at the club at the moment. Lots going on as we enter a new era in 2026, our centenary year. So do head down to the Roundhill Workmen's Club on the 18th of September to meet the directors with the Castleford Tigers Supporters Club. And finally, I want to give a big shout to the rugbystore.co.uk, based in the city of Hull, who have become the one place in the UK where you can get NRL New Era caps, and they are genuinely pretty fantastic, and I'm going to cop a few myself. So the rugbystore.co.uk, based in Hull, find them online, do head over there. UK exclusive, the NRL New Era caps, and they really are a fantastic get. So head over there. That is the rugbystore.co.uk. Well, gents, welcome. Thank you once again for joining us on the COYFCast. This should be a really entertaining one. I think it should be enjoyable over the next hour or so. I've just explained to the listeners how we're going to go about this idea from the buy round, which James Graham's podcast, what they did a few weeks ago, really kind of took my fancy, and I figured a Super League version would be excellent, and hopefully it will be, and we'll have a bit of fun doing this. But yeah, first and foremost, Nathan, how you doing, mate? How's things?
Yeah, grand. Over Saturday, got on, rewatched 2017 highlights for the 66-10 about 4 times, cheered myself up, and then forgot all about us actually losing. No, other than that, cracking, mate, yourself.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, and Steve, yeah, how grateful are you that I'm getting you on this week to not talk about the current cast team and actually do something else?
Yeah, I had the therapy in the car on the way home from work, listening to the match report. Um, so yeah, your dad cheered me up a bit, I have to say, and at least it's not just me who thinks yeah, that the players aren't trying. But let's not talk about Cassie.
Yeah, let's move on. We'll have a cast slant as we go through it, as I've just said before the ads. But yeah, I felt this was going to be therapeutic to talk about something a little bit different at this point of the season. We are going to kick off with a couple of mailbag questions, which I slipped the net last week. We're not getting used to, didn't get a chance to do, sorry. And we really want to do them because two of them are from Nathan's other half. So that's just going to make some things really interesting. I guess you've got to answer quite carefully. The first one from Charlotte. Would you rather watch rugby a la 2017? So that kind of season every year for the rest of our life, but with no trophies at the end of it. So we see that kind of classy cast 2017, but we don't necessarily get a trophy. Or we have that one season where we do win the lot, but then we just kind of bang average every other year for the rest of existence. Nathan, I'll come to you first. It's only fitting. Where do you kind of sit on this?
First and foremost, that's a terrific question. Very well asked.
Very democratic. Diplomatic,
I,
should I
I
say?
openly said I would happily take us winning everything once and then do nothing for the rest of time than watching amazing rugby and have to go through heartbreak year after year after year.
What about you, Steve?
Give
Yeah,
me
I
give me a
think
year
I'm on board
plus.
with that. Yeah, I think I'm on board with that. I think that 2017 grand final, if we'd have won that, I could almost put up with anything. Because it's down in history then, isn't it, as having won a grand final. So I think, yeah, we need to win a grand final in my lifetime, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I think ultimately, people can say what they want about the taking part, but it's the winning, isn't it? It is the winning. That's what
Yeah.
sport's about. And if we could have that year, we could run the table, do a quadruple or something, and just have that forevermore. Because yeah, the flip side of this is kind of just watching kind of average rugby or kind of mediocre rugby for the rest of the time. I'm like, well, can't do that anyway. If I'm honest, so if I can get a treble or a quadruple winning year out of it, I think I'd probably take that. So it's a good question, and don't get me wrong, I don't think we'd necessarily change that kind of 2015 to 2017 period for anything, but yeah, there's nothing like winning. And I mean, someone of my generation, I've not really seen a cast team win a major trophy by the League Leader Shield. So to see us kind of get over that hump and actually lift a major trophy would be rather good. It would. Charlotte had another question. I can see Nathan smiling. When it says pierce the lid several times, how many times do you pierce it? Nathan, how many times do and how many times should you pierce it?
I know the person asking it says it's between 9 and 10 that they do it. For me,
That's specific.
yeah, I just go at it until it looks like it can't take any more and then whack it in the microwave and hope for the best. There's no specific number, it's just until the cling film can't take any more.
Well, until the clean film can't take it anymore is a great way of putting it. Don't suppose you've got an opinion on this one, Steve.
I can't say it's something I've spent loads of time thinking about. I guess it depends. Are you stabbing it with a fork? We often rely on forks, four at once then. So, yeah, it's not something I put a great deal of thought into. But I always go for a fork because I think it's more efficient.
These are the answers what the people want. This is brilliant. We're talking about utensils we use, and this is fantastic. Thank you, Charlotte, for the questions. I genuinely do appreciate it. Yeah, I think this was probably spawned by quite a lot of the questions last week being a bit left field, and not necessarily about the rugby side of things. Obviously, most of the questions should always be about CAS and should always be about rugby league on this CAS Rugby League podcast. Um, but I personally love it. Yeah, just ask me anything really. It's good stuff, and I had a few responses who particularly enjoyed the left field questions. So when I have mailbags in future, do ask those left field ones. Please do. I did promise I'd get one more answered before we get into today's, well, the crux of today's episode as well. And I'm really sorry. I actually forget who actually asked the question. I do apologise. I'll head back afterwards. But the question was along the lines of obviously the Benidorm trip is booked for January. Castle going to play Oldham on a week-long pre-season tour. I'm going to put in I'm going to put in inverted commas to Benidorm. And the question was, which five ex-Cast players would we like to go on that Benidorm trip with? Any names you want to throw out? Any suggestions? 'Cause I'm assuming they're asking who's going to give us the best time. Um, yeah, any names springing to mind from you guys?
I guess Ryan McGoldrick.
He's
I
up there,
think
isn't
he's got to be up there. The entertainment that was provided in his own house, I believe, was very entertaining. So yeah, I think Ryan McGoldrick could probably be top of my list.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's more your era really, and I didn't see too much of him in my time, but I do hear so much about the late great St John Ellis and the kind of the guy he was, and the way he was very much the man in the room when he was in the room, and then you know, all eyes on him. So I guess that's a nice name to throw in there. Nathan, you got any considerations?
The five I wrote down was Ryan McGoldrick, Rangy, Oggy, Ryan Hudson, just because he's my favourite cast player and I can sit and talk to him, and Luke Dawn, who just seemed a great guy to be around.
Nice. Some different vibes there. Definitely some
Yeah,
different vibes. But I mean, as you go throughout the night, you know, the night can go a different turn. You can have an hour sat with Donny, that's gonna be great. You can have an hour whatever else, and that'll be good as well, I'm sure. So
Rangy and McGoldrick seem like the type who you lose at about 3 a.m. and see him again 2 days later.
absolutely,
I'd probably
absolutely.
put Tony Kemp in that bracket as well. To be fair, I think Kempu is a good one on a night out. So I believe.
Great stuff. Great stuff. I think we've answered that thoroughly enough without getting in trouble. So I think that will do. We'll stick it there. But thank you very much for that question. And now we'll get into the crux of this episode. I hope a lot of you are going to be watching on YouTube right now. I haven't worked out how I'm going to put this together yet, but I've got until Thursday, so I'm going to try and do it. The main reason being, obviously, a visualization is going to be quite important for this because I don't expect anyone listening to this to keep 51 names in their head by the end of this episode, but essentially we are going to put our 1 to 17s together now. I've explained the premise at the top of the show. I'm going to share my screen on this Zoom call we're recording on so we can have a visualization of it. And yeah, hopefully this is going to be fun and we can all kind of follow along and hopefully put together three fantastic teams. First and foremost, can you two guys see this?
Yep.
Perfect. That's a very good start. The one thing I've not really figured out is who should go first. I don't know if anyone's got it. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first and take the number one pick? I'm going to exempt myself. So between you two, whoever shouts up first, by all means, you can have the first pick.
I think the person who goes first is naming the Halifax player and then running away, hoping they've stole it off the other two.
If you want it, you can have it.
Go on then. I will take as my number 15, Danny Tickle for the Halifax Blue Sox.
Straight in with a Halifax player, and I do reckon that might be wise. Danny Tickle goes in. Yeah, interchange. You want 15, don't you? Not 14. But nice pick. Nice pick. Again, I'm gonna Steve, I will kind of avert to you. Do you want to have the middle pick, or do you want to have kind of the third pick so you snake back around? I'll leave it open to
I'm
you.
easy either way. Shall I go? I'll do next.
Sure, go. So Danny Tickle's in there for the Halifax Blue Sox, who is the second pick of this draft.
So I'm going to go for a cast player. I'm going to go Michael Shenton, left centre.
Nice one. Okay. Shenny goes in. I will be getting used to the technologically points of this as we get through. Really solid pick. Obviously, Shenny in there. The cast one. Obviously, you're going to get two cast picks throughout this as well. If I just get my bearings here. So you've taken a cast player and Nathan has taken a Halifax player. Okay, so I'm going to take the third pick. And obviously, I get the fourth pick as well. So I think I'm going to go to one of those teams where it get. I mean, obviously, we've all done a bit of research, haven't we? And it does get a little bit light. It gets light really quick with some of these teams, particularly the ones who've not been in Super League very long. I think I am also going to go Halifax, I think, and I'm going to take a bench player as well. Certainly not for his exploits in Super League necessarily, but his exploits beforehand. And just because he'd just be absolute chaos in this team that I'm sure is going to get put together, I'm going to go Kelvin Skerritt on my bench from Halifax. Just one of the toughest blokes ever, I think. And he's just going to create some absolute chaos wherever he goes in this team. And he's going to be, I mean, no matter what, he's going to be up against some serious forwards, isn't he? So there could be some real battles there. So I'm going to go with my Halifax player, Kelvin Skerritt. Next up, so I get the second pick as well. Hmm. I'm going to have a Wakefield player. And my Wakefield player is going to be Gareth Ellis, which is one of those kind of sneaky ones where it's the start of his career, but if I'm getting West Tigers Gareth Ellis in his absolute pomp, I'm taking him as a Wakefield player and he's going to go in the right back row for me. So yeah, they're my two picks, and that'll be back to Steve.
So I'm going to go at hooker, and I'm going to go for one of the clubs I struggled with was Lee. I know they're going really
Yeah.
well at the moment, but kind of when you think of the 20 odd years of Super League, they've not been there for quite a long time of it. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go at 9 because I was struggling with another Lee player as Edwin Pape.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking this. I was looking at really, I do suspect, and there might be a surprise down the line, but it's got to be a current squad player, really, isn't it? It really
Yeah,
has to be a
yeah,
current squad player. You look at, and this is quite by far the best squad that Lee have had. Um, Obviously, they were around in kind of 2005, were they? Where they were particularly poor. Obviously, they're around in kind of 17. They've had seasons here and there. This is clearly the best side. I was looking through some of the teams, some of the players they've had, and yeah, you're going to struggle for a fantasy team there.
yeah.
So Edwin Apape, very, very good pick. It comes back to Nathan.
Two of my great picks have been chosen already. I'm fuming.
That's the game. That's the game.
I am gonna knock off my number 14, so my interchange hooker and half is going to be Tommy Lulawai for the London Broncos.
Ooh, okay.
Obviously, for his exploits at Wigan, he's probably more known for, but I just remember him being a little tank of a 7 for
Tommy
London as
Lillard.
well.
So you're going to go scrum half for Tommy Lillard.
He's going to go on my interchange bench, so I'm filling
Okay.
up my bench early
Makes
doors.
sense. Yeah.
And then my, don't know whether to go fullback or winger here. On my right wing, Leslie Vinacola for the Bradford Bulls.
I didn't think he was going to last long. Yeah. He's just going to go down as Big Les on my list here. Um, right or left?
Wherever he wants to play, I'll message him and see where he wants.
We'll put him on the right for now. So started there. Yeah, he's going to be a wrecking ball wherever he goes, isn't he? There. Yeah, he's certainly been on my list. Steve, back to you
I'm going to go fullback. I'm going to go Sam Tompkins
for whom?
for Wigan.
For Wigan. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting. Obviously, it's one of those kind of considerations, isn't it? Where you could go a slightly different way there.
yeah, absolutely. I struggle with Catalans a little bit, to be fair, as well. But just the way I kind of planned it out,
Yeah.
Sam Tompkins at Wigan just seemed to be more sensible considering who I picked for Catalans.
Makes sense. And that's three really, really solid picks. Let's give an update so far. So Steve has got Sam Tompkins, Michael Shenton, Edwin Apape. Nathan has got Leslie Varnacolo, and then a bench so far of Tom Malulawai and Danny Tickle. I've got Kelvin Skerritt on the bench and then Gareth Ellis in my back row. So no backs or anything for me, which might be where I go. I am going to go. I'm going to take my London player on the left wing. I'm going to take Martin Afire on the left wing, who I just completely forgot about until I was looking yesterday. Obviously, it's a little bit before my time. Obviously, known best for his Wigan days, but geez, what a player! And got more than enough appearances as well in Super League for London. So I'm going to take Martin Afire there, and then I'm going to try and flash out this pack. I'm keen on getting this pack gnarly. Um, and I think there's a team where, again, there's a few names here and there, but there's not tons. I'm going to go Salford, Adrian Morley. Similar to my Gareth Ellis pick, in a way, really, where I'm kind of going off their NRL exploits. But I think he played 50 odd games for Salford towards the back end of his career. So I can take Adrian Morley there. Back to Steve.
Yeah, I'm going to go at 13. Adrian Vols. It was almost my kind of number one pick because I think if anybody said to me, name a player you'd want in your team, you can pick anybody, Volsey would probably be top of the list. Obviously, we're doing this a little bit tactically. But yeah, Adrian Vols. But I am naming him for Wakefield.
Yeah, I thought you might do.
Yeah,
I was just about to ask. I wonder whether that was going to be the case. But yeah, that's a really solid pick. Yeah, that I didn't actually have him written down, which is bad for me. Not for Wakefield anyway. I didn't written down for Cass, but really solid pick. Really, really, really solid pick. And that's already a bit of a spine you're putting together there, isn't it? And Sam Tompkins, Edwin Apape, Adrian Vowles. Um, Nathan, what are we thinking? You need some players on your actual starting lineup.
Ah, no, we'll just have a big bench and just whoever turns up on 13, they turn up. I will go loose forward and put arguably what I think is one of the best Super League loose forwards in Andy Farrell.
You can't really go wrong with that pick, can you? You cannot really go wrong with that. Just
And I'll go second row Hull FC Willie Manu.
ooh, okay.
I didn't realise how many games he actually played for Hull FC.
Yeah, far more than he did for Cass, sadly. But phenomenal player, wasn't he? Phenomenal player. We'll get him in the back row there. Yeah, that's taking shape nicely. Again, some real size in that team. With Willie Manu and Big Les there for you. Steve?
yeah, that's done me over a little bit because I had Gareth Ellis and Willie Manu as my two, but two second rowers. But we'll move on, and I'll kind of think about that as we go along.
That's the beauty of
Um,
it. That's the beauty of
yeah,
it.
I think I am gonna go at right centre or left centre, whichever one we haven't done already. Has been Jamie Lyon,
That's annoying.
probably the best centre I've seen play
Yeah.
in Super League.
I imagine he was one of your top picks. Well, he clearly is one of your top picks if you're getting him this early. And I think, if I'm honest, you had to take him now because I don't think he'd have got past me. So that's yeah, I'm quite annoyed by that actually. But yeah, phenomenal player. And as you say, there's very few better centres. Is there a better centre that's played Super League than Jamie Lyon? Do we think?
Not for me.
Not in terms of talent, no. And you're getting the Australian, origin Jamie Lyon in this as well. The absolute best of the best.
Maybe Keith Senior.
Very good.
Mm,
Had a very, very good career. Certainly got the longevity on him, hasn't he?
yeah,
Certainly the Super League numbers. But that's really, really strong. And yeah, Jamie Lyon and Shenny, you're not going to get much past that in those centre spots. That is very, very good indeed. I think it's my pick again. I'm going to go. I'm going to take one of those current Lee players off the board, I think, and fill out my wing spots. And just for sheer numbers, frankly, I think he'd score tries in this team, in what I hope to put together. I'm going to take Josh Charnley off the board as a Lee player. Um, yeah, just sheer numbers, frankly. The sheer, I mean, obviously he may well end up being the all-time Super League try scorer if he can outlast Ryan Hall, and Ryan Hall doesn't play till he's 46. That might be the only thing that scuppers him. But he's just kind of, what is he, about 15 behind, something like that. But it's probably got a few more years on him. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think. Another spot. I do want to. I'm lacking spine. I'm lacking spine here, which is a concern. Who do I want? Who do I want? Who do I want? I found Hooker a really tough one. I found Hooker a really tough position. I don't know about you guys, but obviously there's a fair few knocking around. But in terms of those real standouts, I don't know what you thought, but there wasn't that many that's kind of. There's a lot of obvious picks at certain positions, but Hooker not necessarily.
James Roby. I think if somebody said we weren't looking at clubs and trying to get from different clubs, just pick the best hooker in Super League, I think I'd have gone Roby.
Mm. No, I think that's fair. But like I said, I think the only problem with that is obviously with the purpose of this game,
Yeah,
you can't have a centre player then, can you?
no,
which is the
can't have
problem.
Jamie Lyon, can you?
That's it. That's it. I'm gonna continue with my backs. I think I'm gonna back myself to pick up some decent pivots later. I think I'm gonna go with a bit of a left field pick because he only played 21 games, I think, for Widnes, so he's just gonna scuff. He's just gonna get in there. And again, not a player I really remember too much myself, but just a incredibly well respected Super League player, and before that as well. I'm going to put Gary Connolly at centre. Probably, yeah, I'll put left centre. If with Martin O'Fire, will be absolutely fine. So Gary Connolly's going to go there, and that'll go down as my Widnes player because Widnes is tough. It is really tough when you get into those. Um, yeah, they've had. I mean, look, we're Castle, we've had some dross, but there's been some real dross at Widnes as well. I found out in the last few days. Steve, I believe, I think we're back to you
Yeah, I'm gonna go back row. Twarenickel
for whom?
for Warrington.
Yeah. Thought it might be. Warrington off the ball. Warrington also another team that I found quite funny, as I was
Mm,
going through, to be
yeah,
honest. I did a bit of a faux kind of run through yesterday just to kind of see how I'd work out, and I was finding Warrington quite late. I wasn't picking Warrington players early, which was an interesting one. But yeah, to Eric, kind of, I mean, you've obviously been on the podcast and chatted about him before. He just speaks for himself, doesn't he?
yeah, absolutely. He's just a class act, isn't he? And I think you forget he played Super League because he wasn't at Cass when he played Super League, and when he came back to Warrington, maybe not at his best. But still, if you get him peak to Aronikau, who plays for Cass and Melbourne, then you've probably got one of the best back rowers in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nathan, a little double pick. Um, where are we heading? And Nathan's on mute. I knew it would happen at some point, and there we go.
Just gave some brilliant insight as well. Um, First pick, left wing for the Catalan Dragons, Pat Richards.
Oh, you've taken one of mine there. I was considering that. Perhaps I was, to be honest, I was going to potentially put him in just at a different position because it's a great little pick. That I genuinely forgot he played for them until this morning. Um, Phenomenal pick, and you've got your goal kicker sorted there, haven't you?
Yeah, loads of tries between Pat and Les.
Big time, big time. Who else are you going for?
Well, I wrote down 5 different teams to try and get variation, and in 4 of them, Jamie Lyons was in it. So I will go
He's
to
in
the
most of
only
mine as
team
well.
that only team that didn't have Jamie Lyons had James Roby. Okay, it would tie between Roby and Cunningham as to who else could represent Saints because Sculthorpe wasn't getting in, sadly.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is now both Saints are off the board, aren't they? So I'm happy that I can now get a free run at Paul Sculthorpe and I don't have to worry about that one too much. Because I had the same discussion in my head. I was like, which way do you go there? So I'm kind of glad that you guys. Well, I'm not glad you have because I really want Jamie Lyon, Steve. But um, I'm glad it's been taken out of my hands there, and I have got a slightly easier run at St Helens. But yeah, two really, really, really solid picks there. Two Super Leagues men, proper Super Leagues men. I think in Pat Richards and James Roby, that's for sure. Steve, back to you with the middle pick.
I think I'm going to go for a prop next. I'm Jamie Peacock for Leeds.
Can't go wrong with that, can you? Just can't go wrong with that. Absolute warhorse of a player.
Yeah.
Again, one of those players. I mean, if you were putting together, I think ultimately you know you're winning, or you know you're doing a good job with these teams when you can. If you were just to put a 30-year team together and they're going to be thereabouts, and I think James Peacock can make quite a lot of them. So that's a really strong pick for Leeds. Sadly, another one of those teams that have a lot of options. I wish they didn't, but they certainly do.
You were not tempted to pick Jake Connor though, right?
Jake Connor will not be entering my
No.
team. Well, I say that I've got no pivots yet. We'll see. I might be forced into it. There's a chance I'll be forced into it, but not as of yet. I don't think. Obviously, I've taken the approach so far of going for the kind of, with respect, lesser teams. I think. Well, certainly the teams with less to go at. Where do I go now? Where do I go now? I'm gonna take my Bradford Bull, I think, and I'm between two. I don't mind saying because I can't take the other one anyway. Regardless, I'm basically between Stuart Fielding, but I can't. I'm gonna have to take the other one because I think if we're doing it on careers, I'm going Sam Burgess and I'm gonna put him at prop. I know he was only there as a 20-year-old, but I make the rules. So Sam Burgess is going in, and I'm getting prime South Sydney Sam Burgess there at prop, and Burgess and Morley and Gareth Ellis in that pack is causing some serious damage as I did back in the NRL. My second pick on the rotation. Hmm. Um. Yeah, none of us have taken a halfback, have we? If we don't take, if well, I guess Tommy Luluai's there in terms of a 14 option, but no halfbacks yet. This is tough. This is tough already. I don't like the fact it's tough already. Have I taken Huddersfield player yet? No, I haven't. I'm no, I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna go fullback, and I'm gonna go Brett Hodgson from Huddersfield, who was Man of Steel, I think. I'm pretty sure I had a Man of Steel on there. Obviously spent time at Warrington as well, but um, just excellent, wasn't he? Just a really, really excellent fullback. And yet again, Huddersfield's one of those teams where it gets a little bit tricky once you get two or three down. So yeah, I'm going to go with Hodgson, and my team I think is starting to take shape. Steve, back to you.
Yeah, I think I am going to go Huddersfield 2, and I'm going to go Danny Brough at scrum half for his kicking game. Just
Yeah.
best kicking game in Super League I think I've seen.
It may have been obvious when I said Huddersfield. Then I was in two minds. He may have been the other one. Yeah. You can't go wrong with Bruffy, can you? You can't go wrong with Bruffy. I've actually just listened to the buy rounds, an episode that went out yesterday with Stuart Fielden, which I think I was in mind, and he actually put Danny Brough in his favourite spine that he's ever played with or against. A lot of that was due to the fact he reckons he could go again just now with the way he's playing. I think he plays a lot of the charity games and stuff, and he's just. I actually watched him. I forget whose testimonial game it was last year. It might have been Masses, maybe a couple of years ago. Obviously playing with the All Stars guys, he was phenomenal. He was still so good to this day. Just unbelievable player, Danny Brough, and yeah, he sits in very nicely in that team. Nathan, little double pick for yourself.
Both of my Huddersfield players have just been picked off in quick succession, so I'm now trying to remember rogue Huddersfield players for later on down the line. I'm I'm gonna burn Salford
Mm,
and pick Luke Dawn from his 1 year that he had there in between us getting relegated both times.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a really clever pick, I think. That's a really clever pick.
And then my Warrington pick is going to be Lee Breeze at 6.
Nice. Very nice. Lee
So
Breeze
we've got
in.
at least two players who can hit drop goals as well in Partridges and Lee Breeze.
From anywhere on the
If,
field.
if,
From anywhere on
if,
the
it,
field, yeah.
if we're drawing with 2 minutes left, I've got you absolutely covered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I like that. Another two very, very strong picks. Luke Dawn at Salford, that's a great pull. That's a really good pull to kind of, as you say, just burn the Red Devils there. Steve, what are you thinking? No one on the bench yet? Happy just to fill out your 13?
Yeah, that's the kind of plan, is that we'll just go for first 13 and then let's see who's left for the bench, in
Yeah.
many ways. So I'm going to go Rangi Chase for Cass.
Forecast.
Yeah, just adds that spark that I don't think any other player does.
Yeah. You'll use your wild card pick then. So that's two of your Cast Tigers in there. I believe. Oh yeah, yeah. You've got Shenny, haven't you? Perfect. Perfect. Rangy Chase off the board. Yeah, I took that gamble earlier. I must admit, have Salford been burnt fully yet? Oh, you've still got Salford player, haven't you?
Yeah.
Steve, I was in two minds with Salford. I had two names written down for Salford. If Morley and Chase had both gone, I'd have been in big trouble. So I decided to take Morley early in that instance. Yeah, a really, really solid pick, and that's quite the duo. 6 and 7 in Rangi Chase, Danny Brough, Sam Tompkins coming off the back of them. That is very, very interesting indeed. I am going to. clearly, yeah, the pivots are going off the board now. I'm gonna have to strike. I think I am going to go with. I did not make a mistake here. I'm going to take Luke Gale. I'm going to take Luke Gale to come off. I don't think I can really get wrong with that. My first cast player off the board. I'm going to take him for cast. I don't have any other options now because I've taken the London player earlier. Could have going to maybe snuck him in for Hull FC actually, thinking about it, but I think that's okay. I'll take him as my cast player.
I don't think he'd have played 20 games for Hull FC, would he?
Maybe not
I
actually.
don't think it's anywhere near because he got that long ban, didn't he?
True, true.
I think he'd been here 20 games.
Fair point. That's a fair point. There was a few I was kind of throwing around, and it was kind of borderline. I was like, to be honest, we could maybe give a little bit of leeway either way if someone made a good case for it. I think, but especially if they're here this year, there's a couple this year, for example. I think Tom Burgess, for example, would miss out.
Mhm.
He's somebody you could potentially get in for Huddersfield and players like that. But yeah, I'm happy with Gailey. I'm happy with Gailey taking one of my cast spots, and yeah, I'm happy with that pivot position. Right, what have we got? What have we got elsewhere now? I've got centre to take, I've got standoff to take, I've got hooker to take. I might as well just take Paul Sculthorpe now. I think it's inevitable. I'm going to take him. Um, so yeah, I'll take Scully as my loose forward. I think from St Helens and go over to you, Steve.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with another prop and go Stuart Fielding for Bradford.
Stuart Fielding for Bradford. Yeah, excellent pick. One of those players. He's a little bit. Obviously, he retired some time ago now. Really, obviously, it was kind of the middle of the
Mm,
noughties. He was at his absolute pomp. But as I say, I was just listening to the interview with James Graham, and he really was arguably best prop in the world, wasn't he? He was right up there, and the fact that him and the Willie Mason incident was such a big deal is because they were genuinely two of the biggest forwards in the world facing off, weren't they? It was a proper battle at that point.
yeah, I think he's probably the best prop I've seen. Obviously, you've got Jamie Peacock in there with that longevity, and he was absolutely top class. But Stuart Fielding on his day was just unplayable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely for sure. That's an excellent pick there for your prop forward position, and that is really taking shape now. That side, as they all are, must be said. Nathan, double pick. Where we heading?
I'm gonna be sneaky and put him at scrum half, and I think he just about played 20 games, but I'm gonna go Danny Maguire for Leeds.
Oh, oh yeah, he can put. Yeah, he obviously played. He doesn't have to have played 20. He doesn't have to play 20 games at scrum half. That's all right. That's fine.
Yeah, I think he probably just sneaks the amount of appearances he made for Leeds with that one. And now this, my centres now that all the good centres have been taken or have named teams is absolutely abysmal.
I'm in a bit of a hole myself. I'll be honest. I'm not liking what I'm seeing when I'm looking down the list.
I've got some rogue picks from Witness that I'm looking at, but I don't know whether it's too early to commit to Witness at this point. I'll go OKR Sean Kenny Dow at centre.
That's annoying, Nathan. That's really
Sorry.
annoying. I think he might have gone next for me, to be honest with you. But no, very, very strong pick. And like I say, you're getting prime Kiwi Sean Kenny Dowell there as well. Although, to be fair, he was excellent at OKR, let's be honest, at the end of his career as well. So that's a very nice pick indeed. OKR off the board for Nathan. Steve, where are you looking now? You're almost complete
Um,
with 13.
yeah, I don't think I need to do any more of the 13 because the right wingers from London, the left wingers Salford.
Yeah, interesting.
And what's that other gap? A right back rower. Oh, that's where I had Willie Manu or Gareth Ellis for Hull FC. Um, um, do you know what? I think I might just fill that now because there was one other, and it was Craig Fitzgibbon,
Good pick.
who was
Strong
just,
pick.
yeah, a monster, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That'll be your Hull FC pick off the board. Excellent stuff. Yeah, Fitzgibbon. I mean, look at that. You've now completed your pack. You're the first one to complete your pack. You've got Jamie Peacock, Edwin Apape, Stuart Fielding, Craig Fitzgibbon, Twain Cow, Adrian Vals. is quite something. That really is quite something. So yeah, nicely done. Nicely done. My pick, I think. Um, um, sorry, what did you have last time, Nathan? Was it Danny Maguire and SKD? The last two, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Make sure I'm not skipping ahead. Um, nice. Right, where do I go now? So I need a left back row, a hooker, a standoff, and a right centre, which are positions that are not the positions I wanted to leave at this point, if I'm honest, because they're too important. I'm committed now to my bench just being whatever. I think at this point, I'm just going to have to do that.
Welcome to the club on that one.
Yeah, I'd love to have a pivot on there that could do something, but at the minute I've just got Calvin Skerritt, which is quite funny. um, I've still got a bit of Hull clubs. Oh, Hull KR, Hull KR. Who could have Hull KR? There's some good players. There's some good centres ish. Um, Hull KR's tricky. I might take Mikey Lewis.
Mm.
I might go Mikey Lewis. I'm just thinking, in terms of Hull KR at this point, back rowers, they've had some. I'm struggling to think of that. I will be forgetting names, of course I am, but I am struggling to think of that kind of real standout name Hull KR at this point for the positions I need.
I found Hawkeye really tough. Yeah,
Because I'm just thinking, where's my stand? Well, because my standoff could have been Danny Maguire and Nathan Godfrey, but thank you for that.
I'm just sat smiling at the thought of Luke Gale and Mikey Lewis playing halfback, and I'm just constantly falling out for 80 minutes and not talking to each other.
Do I do it? Do I do it? I've got Catalans there. I've got some options there. I've got Hull FC. I've had. Well, okay, no, okay, I could maybe do that. I've got a double pick now as well, haven't I? So I'm gonna go. This one gets really tough. This will be the majority of the podcast will be this bit from now because when we're starting to think of names. Six. I'm not gonna do what I said. I'm gonna go Hull FC. I think he'll play. Yeah, he must have played enough games for them. He must have done. I'm gonna go Leon Price. I'm gonna go Leon Price standoff. I think for the longevity yards, excellent player. I'm sure he'll count for Hull FC in this. Um, yeah, I'm happy with that. And Leon Price and Luke Gale is more than good enough, I think, for that 6 and 7 spot. I'm happy with that. And the reason I want to keep Hull KR for now is I've just remembered they have a prop forward called Jared Wyatt-Hargreaves. And the best Jared Wyatt-Hargreaves with 300 and odd games in the NRL is not a bad bench option. A bench option, should I say, opposite Kelvin Skerritt. And that's you don't want to see this bench coming on after 20 minutes, do you? So we'll go with JWH in there for Hull KR. Yeah, think I'm happy with that. Think I'm happy with that. Steve, on to
how
you.
many? How often's he been banned, Ross? How many games he played?
He only needs to play the one.
Oh, because he's current.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah,
He
I
can't be
think he
far.
did.
And to be fair, he's got banned a lot less often than I thought he would.
He'll be in. He'll be in. He'll be in. It's my podcast, Steve. He's in.
Let's just look up on RL Project. He's banned again now, though, isn't he? I notice for doing exactly the same thing that Sam the Stone has done numerous times over the season.
I have noticed that. Yeah,
Interesting one.
consistency.
Yeah.
Continues to be one of those things. Yeah,
It certainly does. Okay, was it over to me? Sorry.
it's okay, and I will square with you. I'll let you two decide whether I can have him or not. He's got 19 appearances.
Oh, by the time it goes out, will they play? No, yeah, go on. We'll allow it. I think Nathan, right?
It depends if I've named this person as well and I'm struggling. So I'll let you know when all 7 teams are
We might have to do a little swap deal on the 17th pick. Maybe we do a little swap deal. We'll go JWH.
Okay, I'm going to go Catalans, bench player. I was torn between two, but I'm going to go Mike McMeekan.
Great pick. Great pick. And shock, another one I had on my list. He was also going to flesh out my bench, but he's on yours. He was always going to land somewhere, I think. I think the fact he had a few options there, obviously he's got Cass, obviously he's got Probably Wakefield now, I'd have thought. Well, yeah, if we're having JWH, you can definitely
Yeah.
get Mike. Definitely get Mike. Yeah, I think he was always going to land somewhere. So, yeah, that's a really, really solid pick, Steve. I like that a lot. I will give you the option here to put a little 14 in there if you get the opportunity to do so. I'll put him in that second spot on the bench. Nathan, to you.
I'm going to tactically leave my two cast players till the end because I know I'll be able to name
That's a good
more.
call. That's a good call.
So I will admit to maybe a little bit of, I'll say, taking a chance. And I messaged my good friend who runs the Down at Bellevue Twitter account saying, if you had to name an all-time Wakey team, who would you name? And one of the centres he named is someone I've completely forgotten about, but I will throw it in mainly because I like he used to wear a scrum out and you don't see many of them anymore. And that's Sid Domick at centre for Wakey.
Wow. I'm
It was
showing my age now.
between
I didn't
Domick,
even know how to spell that.
Domic. It was between him and Demetrio, but I just think
Yeah,
Domic was a classy player from what I remember.
nice pick.
And
Wakey were tricky. Wakey were really tricky.
I think the problem with Wakey is I think more of the 2010s to 2023 when they just seemed to
Yeah.
sign rogue players and hope they turned him to gems, which they had a few, but
I mean,
not
we can't.
loads.
None of us can take him now. But I mean, to be fair, I think Fafita would have been a fair pick for someone's bench. I think he was
Da-
probably the one in that last era.
David Solomona was on my
Yeah.
list. If
Yeah.
if somebody had taken Adrian Vowles before I got a chance, David Solomona is a really good player.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of rogue, I will go rogue for Lee Centurions and name Glenn Stewart. He played 20 odd games in 2017.
Yeah.
Obviously played about nearly 200 for Manly.
I'm gonna put him in the right back row spot.
Yeah, I'll play a bit back row.
Yeah.
There's also that famous video of him and Abden Blair on the YouTube.
Just one of the greats, isn't it? Just one of the absolute great moments. One of those moments that they really shouldn't really use it to publicise the game, but also they should. They absolutely should. Just absolute chaos. Great pick. Again, one of those kind of deep pulls. Yeah, proper. I think anytime you're pulling out like a 200 game NRL player, you're in a pretty good spot with this. That's a really good selection, Glenn Stewart. Steve, up to you again.
I am going to do my Hull KR player. Really struggled with KR. I'm going to go Clint Newton on the bench.
Nice.
Just really solid, really dependable. Just a really good all-round player. Could do the hard yards. Bit of skill about him. So yeah, I always enjoyed watching Clint Newton.
Am I right in saying he was or is heavily involved in the RLPA as well? So he'd be a good organizer. He'd be a really
Absolutely,
good
yeah.
organizer.
Who needs Danny Bruff when you've got Clint Newton?
Yeah. Yeah, they'd certainly be. I mean, they're gonna make it to the field on time. That's for sure. Which might be important looking at some of these players actually.
Drag Rangi with him.
Yeah, he can round them up. He can round them up. So yeah, it's a solid pick as well. I like that. Clint Newton goes on the bench. Yeah, nice little 14 pick for you. There, back to me, I think. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to fill. I've got Catalans, Leeds, Warrington, Wigan, Cass, which is okay. It's okay. I've tried to do that on purpose. It's just whether I can get the actual balance right now is the problem. Um, that's who I can go with for there. That's who I can go with for there. Hmm. I'm gonna
It
go.
feels like a very rugby league based game of chess, does this? And we're
It
getting
does.
down to him.
It really does. Center. Uh, yeah, he must have played enough. Yeah, he clearly must have played enough games for Warrington. Martin Gleeson. I think Martin Gleeson, yeah, clearly played enough games for Warrington. Very, very good player. I did consider getting him in for someone else earlier, actually. I think Huddersfield, he actually would have worked for. I think he started out at Huddersfield and one of his first clubs. I think he might have cleared 20 odd there as well. But Yeah, Gleeson and Connolly's a pretty nice centres partnership. I like that. So he'll be my Warrington pick. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. My other pick, again, I think I'm going to take your approach, Nate, of keeping my cash player till as long as I can. Does Catalans come off the board here? Maybe. I need a hooker. I need a back rower. Yeah, I will take. And I've kind of accidentally done something with my pack in the sense that it pretty much is all NRL players and players that have been in the best at the NRL bar Skullthorpe. I'm going to go Elliot Whitehead, I think, at left back row for my Catalans pick. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
I thought you were going to go Steve Menzies there when you talked about NRL and Catalans and back row.
He is written right next to him.
Yeah.
I've maybe gone for a bit of a homer pick being the English guy there, but and I think just personally I've seen a bit more of Whitehead. I think is the only reason I've gone with that. But I mean, yeah, Beaver would have been a great pick there as well. To be fair, I couldn't really lose with that one. But yeah, perfect. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, I'll fill up one of those wing spots. So Denny Solomona as a London pick.
Of course, a great way of doing it. And that is some backline you've got. That is some backline at the moment in Sam Tompkins, Denny Solomon, and Jamie Lyon. I mean, how many tries is Denny Solomon scoring with Jamie Lyon inside him? That's
A
terrifying.
lot.
That is terrifying. That really is. Or you could obviously I could put him on the left and have that Denny Solomon connection as well, if you wanted to do that. Um, great pick. Great pick. Nathan, getting crucial now. Getting crucial. It's the business end. It's the business end of the draft now.
The issue I've got is I've openly said I'm leaving Castellan, which now means my next two picks have to be Huddersfield and Widnes. And most respectful picks have been taken. I'll go to another interchange spot for Widnes and say Willie Isa,
Yes. He is someone I had written down.
who I
Um,
believed Ogiom described as one of the most intense individuals he's ever met.
so much so that he's now a world champion at Chelsea, which is a bit of a bizarre thing, isn't it? He's gone to Chelsea and not on the coaching staff, which is a crazy little career turn. But yeah, I mean, he's one of those players. I think he was so kind of niggly, wasn't he, as a player, and he was a bit snide, and he was a bit no one really liked him when you going against him, but a big part of the really good Wigan team for a long time, wasn't he? And didn't do too bad at Widnes either. So yeah, that's a really solid pick that in Willie Isa. And you've got another one, I believe.
Pro Huddersfield Giants, Chris Hill.
Chris Hill for Huddersfield. Nice. Nice. I did wonder whether you were going to go for a certain giant named Crabtree there.
He is written down as one of my players. It was one of 3 or 4 that I could have chose for Huddersfield, but I started to run out when I got to Jamal Lalisi as an option for a centre. But I
Good
think I've
player,
just seen
but
Chris.
yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Chris Hill's played in more high-profile games, so he just
Lot
gets
of
a nod.
England caps. Yeah, it's a solid pick. It's a really solid pick, and he still do a job in this team, that's for sure. Steve, back to yourself.
Yeah, might as well finish off the first 13. Justin Carney for Salford.
Salford, of course. Oh, beautiful. You did warn us before the podcast that you were going to have a real cast feel to your team.
I know. I
And
did
you really
actually
have.
manage to. I did manage to put together an all-cast team as well. So I have managed to get an all-cast team, but obviously
It's
some
not
of them.
far off. Yeah,
It's
you've
not
got
far off.
Denny, Shenny, Justin Carney, Rangi Chase, Danny Brough, Twain, Account Adrian Vels, and Michael McMeekin at this point. So there's a fair bit of Cass in there, as there should be.
There's a bit more to come as well.
Yeah, well, of course. It is the COYFCast after all, so why not? Why not? Okay, only a few picks left now. I think there's only 7 picks from the look of this. I need a hooker and 2 bench spots. So luckily, I've got Wigan, Leeds, and Cass. It's just which way I do it now. Which way do I do it? Who is the best forwards? I've lied to you both. I'm not going to take my cast pick last. I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to take Grant Millerton and put him in my bench. And I think Nathan's unhappy with that. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. But Grant Millerton's going to go on my bench. So I have Wigan and Leeds. I'm very happy I've left Wigan and Leeds at this point. Wigan have got a million forwards, haven't they? Have they got that standout hooker over the years? Really? There's some good ones, don't get me wrong, but mm, I'm going to go for someone I think who's just going to add a real bit of class, I think, to this team. I'm going to round off my 13 with hooker. And I've got quite an NRL feel to it as it is, so I'm going to go Danny Badiris at hooker from the Leeds Rhinos. And I think, yeah, it'll just wheel round to me for the final pick, I think, by the looks of this. Or one of the final picks. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, I'll just fill that bench up. Witness player Terry O'Connor.
Yes. Great pick. Great pick. He was on my list. There's another on there. I had Mick Cassidy on there as well. Another
Yeah,
one
same.
kind of had long careers. Yeah, that's a really, really solid pick there.
Jim Gannon as well.
Yes.
Could pick him for Halifax or Widnes.
That is it Morgan's dad? I believe that.
Yeah.
I think it might be. I think it might be Morgan Gannon's dad. But yeah, phenomenal players. Not many of them in those Widnes ranks, but there is one or two, thankfully. So that's a really good pick. In Terry O'Connor, that bench is looking nice. Nathan, final two picks for yourself. They've both got to be Tigers.
My prop is one Danny Nutley.
Nice.
Great pick. Great pick.
I know you. I've watched you just fill that in. I'll say that he's going to be my starting prop.
Oh, of course, you've got two props, yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah.
And now I'm torn between, do I actually try and think of another genuine cast legend? Which there's a few. I'm going to say that if in this hypothetical world, Ryan Hudson is my coach and Dean Sampson makes his way onto the bench.
Nice. Dean Sampson completes your lineup. So that is your lineup. I'll read them all out at the end. But you better see it on screen anyway. So Dean Sampson rounds up your team. I like what I'm seeing. That is an absolute belter. Steve, final pick from the Halifax Blue Sox.
Gary Mercer.
Was also on my list. Yeah. Again, so tough. I mean, I was looking at Halifax. I think their final Super League season was 2003, and I really started watching 2004. So that was tough. That was tough right off the bat. But yeah, Gary Mercer's a great pick in there.
Great hands as well. You know, it was tough, but he was skillful as well.
Yeah, all the experience in the world there. I think that's a really nice pick in Gary Mercer. And my final pick to round off the draft, Wigan player. I can pretty much go where I want here with Wigan, I think. But I don't really. You've both got a real 14. You both got a bit of interchange there. I've just got pure size and strength and aggression. Jared Waller-Hargreaves, Kelvin Skerritt, and Milo. A bit of guile with Milo, to be fair.
And a few bands.
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, he'll have tons of games. He'll have enough for sure. But I think this is gonna be a solid pick. Yeah, a million games. I'm gonna go. A lot of options here. I must admit, there's a lot of options I could go with. But I think the obvious choice is going to be the late, great Terry Newton. I'm going to put on my bench 170 games for Wigan. He goes in there. We've both got a Newton on the bench, actually, myself and Steve. I'm going to go for Terry. Steve's going to go with Clint. And I think that rounds it up. So I'm going to talk through these teams now. So I'll kick off with mine. I've got Brett Hodgson, Josh Charnley, Martin Gleeson, Gary Connolly, Martin Offiah, Leon Price, and Luke Gale in the halves. Sam Burgess, Danny Badiris, Adrian Morley, Gareth Ellis, Elliot Whitehead, and Paul Sculthorpe in the pack, with a bench of Jared Waller-Hargreaves, just Kelvin Skerritt, Grant Millington, and Terry Newton on the bench. Nathan, do you want to talk us through your side?
Yeah, my team is more based on we'll have fun and score lots of tries, potentially concede lots of tries, but it's going to be fun. So at fullback, there's Luke Dawn. Right wing is Leslie Vanacola, Sean Kenny-Dowell, Sid Domick, and Pat Richards is the back line. Just realised there's some serious size on that right edge.
Oh yeah.
Um, Lee Breers and Danny Maguire in the halves. Chris Hill, James Roby, and Danny Nutley up front. Glenn Stewart, Willie Manu, and Andy Farrell ran at the back with Tommy Lulawai, Danny Tickle, Willie Isa, and Dean Sampson on the bench.
No problem with that at all. Yeah, it is. I think you've maybe got the vibiest team. I think you've got the vibiest team, but nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I love that. Lee Breers and Danny Maguire could be lethal as well, especially with those, like say, those big backs coming off the back of them. Beautiful stuff. And Steve, to round us off, your almost cast team.
Yep, so Sam Tompkins at fullback, backline of Dennis Onamona, Jamie Lyon, Michael Shenton, and Justin Carney. Rangi Chase and Danny Brough in the halves. Props, Jamie Peacock and Stuart Fielden with Edwin Ipape at hooker. Back row, Craig Fitzgibbon, Tuara Nikau and Adrian Valls at loose. And then a bench of Clint Newton, Mike McMeekan, Terry O'Connor and Gary Mercer.
Beautiful stuff. What a side that is. What a side that is. And like I say, even better that there's a fair few cast appearances on there as well, because it is the COYFCast after all. All three teams are going to be put on social media in the next couple of days. We'll have some kind of vote to see which side we think would come out on top if we did a theoretical tri-series, I guess. As you say, I'm going to be in trouble game 2 and 3 because I'm going to have no players left. But we'll see what would happen there. I hope everyone listening and hopefully watching has enjoyed it. I want to give full credit to James Graham and the Buy Round for the concepts. I have hands up, I have completely stolen it from them. But it's a fun little idea, and I've been really enjoyed putting it together. Steve, enjoyed it?
Yeah, really interesting. I'm kind of a bit frantic this afternoon. I'm trying to think of players and who might take who, and it's tough, isn't it? Because as soon as a player gets taken by another team, your whole team is then skittled, really, because you've got these plans. But yeah, it's good to think around and good to think back to some of those really good players we've had in Super League. I think it's interesting that there aren't many current players in there. Is that indicative of quality of the competition at the moment, or is that just because actually current players don't tend to? Sometimes you don't realise how good they are until they're finished. But it's interesting that we didn't have too many in there that are currently playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Nathan, how'd you find it?
It really good until 4 of your picks get taken and you try to find out who played for Widnes Vikings in 2003. That could potentially be in this team. But I think like I'm someone who's I do enjoy the older games of rugby. I'd go back and watch as many as I can on YouTube. I think then when you look back at some teams and you genuinely forget players played for certain teams and stuff like that. But yeah, like Steve said, as soon as 2 of your top picks that definitely weren't being picked get taken, and then you realise you've got to put a ex-league player in at centre and you can't really name any of the centres. Good fun. Good fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. I may put a fourth team out as well if I get the chance to do it, and I'll do a fourth team of players that weren't selected because I think that'll be interesting as well. I mean, obviously some people would make the case that Kevin Sinfield, for example, would be the greatest Super League player. Doesn't make the team. There's some great players.
Yes, in Harris.
Yes, in Harris. There's Jimmy Lowe. There's tons.
I was surprised Ryan Hall didn't get taken for LKR.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. It's phenomenal how many actual great players, when you really think about it, haven't made the team. But that's just how it pans out, I guess. But that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it. Like I say, I hope everyone listening and watching has enjoyed it. By all means, have a go yourself. Take it to your friends. See how you get on. It's not as easy as it looks. I promise you. It is very, very difficult and takes a bit of research, but it is good fun. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for watching. If I've indeed been able to work that out. I'll be back just after the weekend. Hopefully, a slightly more upbeat match report would be nice. I'm not going to hang my hat on that, but it would be nice if we can put something together into Catalans. But we will see. I'll be here regardless. I'll see you then, and Coif.